All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to do something a little different. We're taking just one single chapter of a story and we're going to tear it apart, slide by slide. We're going to see how a really great storyteller uses conflict, not just for, cool action scenes, but to show us who these characters really are. So let's just jump right in with the big idea that drives this whole chapter. And it's this really powerful, kind of simple idea. You don't truly know someone or a team until you put them under pressure. See, in this story, conflict isn't just about fights. It's like a diagnostic tool. It's there to reveal the truth that's hiding just under the surface.
So how does the story kick all this off? It introduces a catalyst for all this friction. Our guy, Jason, he doesn't get assigned to some super elite squad where everyone would be impressed by his skills. And he's not thrown into some cannon fodder unit where it wouldn't matter if he got killed. No, he gets sent somewhere they call functional. And, as we're about to find out, that's way, way more dangerous.
So what in the world does functional even mean in this context? Let me tell you, it is not a compliment. It means they survive because they are one thing: predictable. They've built this entire system, this little ecosystem, on habit and repetition. And that's what's kept them alive. The fact that nothing ever changes. Well, until now.
Okay, so you've got this perfectly stable system. What happens when you drop in a totally unpredictable variable, like Jason? Well, the reaction isn't what you'd think. There's no discussion. The captain doesn't give an order. No, it's something way more primal.
And this is what's so wild. The squad's reaction is basically a nonverbal, unified immune response. It's like a body rejecting an implant. Before anyone even says a word, the whole group just instinctively tries to isolate this new guy. You see the spacing between them change, shields tilt to close him out, nobody will even look at him. They are literally physically trying to edit him out of their formation.
And of course, this kind of subtle, quiet rejection, it doesn't stay quiet for long. It escalates, and fast, into these direct personal challenges. First, you get this sharp-clipped verbal jab from a geotoken, basically designed to make everything Jason's fault. And right after that, a physical shove from Brayritz. I mean, that's a clear, aggressive move. He's testing Jason, seeing how he'll react when pushed, literally. But here's the twist, and this is what makes the chapter so smart. This conflict, it's not just happening by accident. Oh no, it is being orchestrated. The captain, Aurelia Krill, she isn't trying to stop all this friction. She's actually using it, like a tool, to see what her squad is truly made of.
And her philosophy is, well, it's brutal, but it's simple. She believes the biggest threat to any unit isn't the enemy you're facing. It's the fear and mistrust inside your own ranks. She knows that fear spreads like a disease, and she is dead set on finding it and cutting it out before it can fester.
And this just lays out her method perfectly. You have to understand, this is not about hazing the new guy. This is a cold, calculated diagnostic test. She introduces a stressor, that's Jason, and then she just cranks up the pressure with these insane drills. Why? To map the fault lines. She's not testing Jason's strength, she's testing how much damage his very presence does to the team structure.
So when she applies this pressure, it doesn't just create one single clean break. No, it's more like an earthquake. It reveals this whole complex map of the squad's pre-existing anxieties, their insecurities, and it starts to sort them one by one based on how they each deal with the fear of the unknown. And you can actually group all these reactions into these really clear patterns. First, you've got your aggressors, right? That's Aegea and Bray. They try to get control back by using force. Then you have the avoiders, Tolkien, the Walnut sisters. They just try to create distance, treating Jason like a pothole on the road. Then there are the calculators, Henna and Adela, who are constantly watching, measuring the risk, and just simmering with resentment. And finally, you have the compensator, Duncan, who's the guy quietly running around fixing all the gaps his brother and the others leave behind. Okay, so you've got all this rejection, all this fear swirling around. But in the middle of it all, three people react differently. They don't attack, they don't run away, they adapt. And this, right here, is the turning point for the whole squad. First up, we have Henrik Barden. And this guy represents stability, but it's not the mindless, habit-based stability of the others. His is a conscious choice. He doesn't lean away from Jason, but he doesn't exactly welcome him either. He just holds his ground. After this absolutely brutal drill, all he says is, could have been worse. And that simple phrase, it means everything. It's not some big speech about teamwork. It's a quiet, practical decision. He's choosing to see Jason as just another soldier. A problem to be solved maybe, but not some kind of existential threat.
Then we have DeMartis Royce, and her approach is different. She's not offering friendship, she's not offering comfort. In this high-stress, high-stakes environment, she offers something way more valuable, a dose of objective reality.
So when the line collapses, she doesn't point fingers. She doesn't give him a pat on the back. She just states a fact. You held longer than most would. That simple act of acknowledgement, it just cuts right through all the emotional chaos. It reframes Jason from being this object of fear into a peer who is actually competent.
And last, but definitely not least, we've got Alvin Ward. And he's maybe the most interesting of all. He sees this whole disruption not as a social problem, but as a tactical one. For him, Jason isn't a threat to be managed, he's a puzzle to be solved.
This is the whole ballgame. After a drill completely falls apart, Alvin doesn't blame Jason. He asks for information. Do you step left or anchor first? By asking a tactical question, he totally changes the game. He reframes Jason from being this disruptive, scary force into a source of new data. He's actually choosing to learn from the chaos instead of just being afraid of it.
Okay, so after all this friction, all this rejection, and these few little moments of adaptation, where does that leave the squad? Well, the chapter doesn't wrap it all up with a nice little bow. It ends with a transformation. Look, the squad isn't suddenly holding hands and singing songs. They're not healed. They're not unified. That old, comfortable system they had, it's gone. For good. All that friction has permanently changed them. They survived the captain's test, yeah, but they are not the same squad that walked onto that field.
And that brings us to the final lingering question the story leaves you with. The captain wanted to use friction to reveal the truth. Well, now the truth is out there, all of it. The fear, the weakness, but also that little flicker of potential, of adaptation. So what happens now? That friction isn't going away. Is it going to eventually just grind them down to dust? Or is it going to sharpen them into something tougher, smarter, and ultimately something much stronger? And that's the high-stakes question that turns what could have been a simple training day into a really powerful story.